Yes, 9 o'clock.
Well, are we recording?
We are recording, we are live, well, not
Okay,
live.
we're live.
Okay.
Okay, call this meeting to order, the Public Works Committee meeting, 9 o'clock, March 19th, of our Lord. Okay, is there a roll call
Oscar,
here?
Steve,
Steve,
yeah, he's on Zoom. But he's muted.
he's
Preston,
here.
Mike,
Here.
Tom. That might be.
Say here.
And
So here.
Tom. Okay, we can him.
Okay, we have a form, so if any action need to be taken, be brought to our attention. I noticed we got minutes, so we don't have it on the agenda, but we need to approve the minutes of the latest meeting, March 5th.
I'm gonna be approving the minutes as written.
Second. Anyone second? All in favor of the minutes being approved?
Second.
Mike,
Thank you.
Mike one.
Mike one.
Anyone against? No, Mike's approved. Now we go to the list of the top discussion items. Top 10 or 20 commercial water users. Who's gonna do that?
So we have been working on trying to get this report since, well, I think you guys asked me the last meeting, so over 2 weeks now. It's over 1,000 pages, and every time I convert it to an Excel and try to sort it, it freezes up on it. I had to restart my computer 3 times because of it. But what Ashley and I are trying to do is find another way to pull it, and we'll try to get a hold of Tyler to see if there's a way he can get it that way. And then we can email it to you once we have something that won't take so much time or freezes up our computer.
Okay. Okay, good. That's in loop, it's coming, which is.
It's coming, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good with that, Preston?
Yeah, and is there a way that, we talked about it yesterday, in that water advisory committee, could we just make it maybe the top 5 from each rate class or top 10 from each rate class?
Yeah, it's just a matter of how, because once I pull that report, I get everything on everybody in the whole month. And so that's why it's 1,000 pages. But what we can do is, do you want top 5 from each rated class? And I did write it on my other notes, but I'm gonna write it here too. And we can get that. I just need to figure out how to pull the report so I can sort it to be top 5 too.
Well, the reason being, I'd like to just see the consumption difference between industrial versus commercial versus residential, what the actual difference is.
The one thing I can tell you for 100% fact is we have 0 industrial users on our system right now.
What is it that qualifies an industrial? How is DFA not an industrial though?
That's what Ashley and I were talking about yesterday. We're not sure because we weren't there when they came into business, but
Okay.
do you know what would make somebody industrial? Is it based off the amount that they're bringing in?
Yeah,
And use?
based off. You know what, we could see if we have any applications.
So it should be on our application, and I read it like 3 times in the 3 years I've been here, so I don't have it memorized.
So you're saying that the cannabis growers are classified as commercial?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and I believe it has the amount of consumption was what qualifies it for each class.
And probably the demand necessary to fill their needs.
Right.
Like at the co-op, we only have 8 industrial, so I mean, it's very rare.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Discussion on project charter task forward to monitor progress on various topics to prevent dominant efforts.
I presented that, Oscar,
Okay,
and what I wanted to know is there a way that we can put either an easel pad or market board or digital version of those things that highlights the things that we have talked about so that they just don't disappear. You know, we've talked about property tax, we've talked about gross receipts tax, we've talked about raises for the fire department, getting possibly water conservation into the schools. I'd hate to see these things just disappear. And the second part to that equation is calling on your expertise is how do we make sure those items don't disappear with your government and council experience?
it looked like to me, I don't know, and you want to say anything? Okay, I think that a chart is easy. Shouldn't a chart be something we just write something down and have like a metric?
Yeah.
A measurement, merchant, the time frame, this is here and this there. I think I like what you're saying, that we shouldn't just bring up stuff and let it drop off. So why don't we just start a chart, actually have a merchant, design. And you put your projects and then timeline going, vertical.
Will that be a piece of paper or online or?
We got a computer expert here, she probably can set it up.
Do you want it on the webpage? Do you want it on social media? What do you want?
Is it just between our
I
group?
think it should be within the council first.
Include us.
I mean,
Yeah, I can build one.
Okay, could you build one?
It'd be super simple just to do it in Word and then have it available, you can pull it up at your meetings and then she can print it or they can email it to you as needed.
And as we mark it,
It'd be easier to do it in Excel, because you can do it as quickly.
well, if you can do a spreadsheet on that, it'd be, and another thing, that's a good point you brought up, Steve, is that I get so tired of hearing people saying they're not doing nothing. So we can, this is another
It's a tracking method.
tracking method, yes, yeah,
And that's something we can share at council meetings too, like here's our progress,
right.
here's where we started, here's where we're at, like we're continuing with it, and that'll be good for.
Have a time frame of projects.
Projects,
Yeah, at the end of our terms, I would like to say, we accomplished this, and this.
Yeah, for example, you see the water hydrants are being maintained, fixed. And somebody was complaining about, I saw all this, I said, you know what, shut up. Because what you got to know is that they're fixing the water hydrant. You complain today, why do you have black tops on it, why this? I said, I seen a lot of greens and blacks, or not blacks, I seen more greens and reds all over town. So that means somebody's working.
Yeah, but the only one, but to emphasize your point, the only ones they're seeing are the ones that aren't working.
Right.
So this format is gonna show them, well, you might only see these, but these guys are in the field out here doing all of these. You know, and that brings in more public trust and more public, head nod, the yes factor,
I like the idea, so we don't need a motion on that, I don't think. I
No.
think that's just a task.
It's a task.
And another idea on the hydrants, it may be, and it may be bad publicity, so I don't know, because I don't know really where we're at in the process, but if you had a total number of hydrants that we have, total number of blacks, reds, blues, that are existing, and that'd be something that you post to where you can see, hey, we've remedied another situation. Is that a possibility, or is that something that we don't want out?
Well, here's the issue with that. The way they calculated the colors, it's not an accurate gallons per minute for our water system. I posted all this a while back, but we have 318 hydrants, not including use hydrants, and 54 water service. But Kristen's team have done an excellent job. I believe it was 5 or 6 so far this year alone. So that drastically improves it. And one of their plans is to start pushing that out on social media.
Yeah.
So that people are aware.
What we can-
That's all I'm saying is.
Yeah, what we can do is 318 hydrants, we had 54 that were down, so far we've repaired 5, and then next week we repaired 3, 4, 5 more. Like, we can do it like that.
Yeah, I think just transparency really helps. If they drive around and you say, well, hey, here's on the webpage, that's the live update. They fixed 8 of them, so they're working on it.
Right.
And if people see that stuff's being accomplished, they're less likely to. I would assume.
You would think so.
In theory.
You're gonna please everybody.
No, you're not.
And well, I don't think we need to have a vote on that. This is just a task that should be.
Yeah.
But Keith brought up a point about the reuse type. Someone asked me about reuse type. If a fire happens, we use that, is there enough water in them to?
Yes, there's water, but we have to be very careful on how we use that. One, because it can damage our trucks.
And it's just a date and a
Not water in our truck.
Do we want to?
So a prime example was the Brooks fire, we made like a water source, so we can access that water. That's but
Excuse me,
We just don't want.
he's talking about the reused water.
They're not
Use hydrants.
in every location that they're making a fire. So when it's applicable for us to use them, we do use
Okay,
How many are there?
them. How many reuse hundreds?
Thirty.
30.
And they're just all
Yeah.
over town, just in different areas, or are they consumed in
We
one
have a
area?
map,
Can you pull that Christine?
yes.
Christine, can you pull up our Iowa one?
They did get, you guys, we, at the last meeting, we gave you it out. And if we need to reissue that, we can.
I actually have one in the office, I need to grab it.
You got an office, what was your truck?
That too?
Right on, it's mobile. No, I think that's great, man.
Wherever I'm at.
You got the top one, right?
Make it happen.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay, hit login.
Once you log in, we have to share the screen, because we got somebody on the other end.
Yeah. that's great.
Chief. Somebody's coughing.
I know the, my spam. Type it in there, click there again.
Sleep off again,
I've been fighting for about a week.
we can adjust it so we did,
No, I
I think,
don't adjust.
Oh, allow cookies, sorry.
right?
That's all I've ever
That's
heard.
all I think it's got.
Yeah, and that one there.
Thank you.
I know how to fix my hip. I just walk up the stairs. It helps. I get sciatica real bad to where I.
Click on the workout again.
Stairs help?
Oh, yeah. Just, it's rotating, getting your hips back.
Oh, no,
Hey,
that's.
click on it over
I
there.
know.
Oh my gosh, it's,
We have stairs in our house.
when got adjusted, sometimes the first time I got adjusted,
Maybe.
didn't do anything. The next day I went to Colorado. I went like mountain.
You're not gonna be,
I apologize.
that's okay, don't worry about it.
Do you need Chris to grab the map?
No, that's okay, I think we're all right.
I mean, you can kind of give them a rough idea of where they're looking.
Yeah.
They start at the wastewater plant and then run up, and there's the ones just south of, was it, Lincia?
Yeah.
There's a bunch there, there's a bunch down.
Yeah, they go down,
University.
they even
City
get back
Park.
behind cemetery.
They're easy to spot because of the,
Yeah, so is that item C update?
Yep.
Okay,
how many hydrants have you fixed?
Altogether, five.
So we'll start with that. What we're gonna do is make a timeline, and just keep that timeline updated, and we'll keep it live on our social media and our website.
it'd be kind of like Steve chart on the potholes. That'd be almost similar to what, like Steve map on the potholes.
We just don't, we'll share our map. It's gonna be your-
On this hydrant update, I put that on there, the part about fire preparation plan and campaign. Chief, if you could, sometime soon, develop some kind of comfort to people. People are freaking out on panhandle fires and saying, well, we don't have any water, so, you know, anything that you can do to ease that tension would be appreciated.
You're talking about like being prepared for the
Yes,
fire season?
yes, I know we have a plan, but I think at this point in time, it should be made more public.
We do have a pretty aggressive social media campaign ongoing.
Okay.
that is included in, we plan on documenting each apparatus, how much water it carries, and then I can go detail how much water is.
Okay.
It's all into the parts, which is.
That's all we need.
I've also asked him to think about going to the county and asking them to follow suit with our number ban, just because it's going to be a very bad fire season.
Okay.
And so that's something that will probably happen a little bit closer to the fire season.
You know, and also, you know, one of the things that is we seen floating in this town, people. One person asked me something and two people asked you something. And I also worry about what is the volume of requests, complaints, issues
On,
on anything. In fact, bringing up, people are upset, or need to know about fire plans and all that stuff. How many people contact you
on that, none.
on anything?
So my biggest complaints are water situation, whether or not they can water their grass, and alleyway cleanup and dumpsters.
Right.
Those are the ones that I get the majority of the complaints on.
So I just think we, you know, like, when we hear the broad people are saying that they need something to we need to do this. I just wonder if it's one person or 100 people.
I don't think it's 100 people. I think you have a handful of people that just have a stuff they want to be heard about.
Right, and we ought to invite them to come to the city council.
We do every time we have a complaint or they call us.
Okay, all right, they can come to the public works committee.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Yeah, invite them to the public works committee meeting, but I just, these, blind people, I'm just worried about. That's kind of a tunnel vision. And so I like, if they got some complaints, I want to find out something, they'll to come to the sources and talk to us about it.
All the committee meetings are advertised on all platforms in the calendar, everything, and then the news media picks it up. And it's announced on the radio every other Monday.
So they have ample, process to let them know that
Yes.
we have meetings. And so these ad lib, complaints, I like to see them come forward. If we can motivate them to do it.
Oscar, I think a lot of people just like to complain, but not really follow up.
Not follow up on the.
Yeah, but I think you'd also see, like with Mike's page and even some with mine, believe it or not. I think you see people out there that start tossing around ideas and are supportive. I'd made some complaints last city council meeting. I'll be straight up and honest about it. I made some complaints and there was some constructive criticism that came out, as well as, you know, some people being knuckleheads. I mean, you're going that, I don't care if you're in the city council forum or if you're online, you're gonna have both issues, and I think both need to be heard. Sometimes you just gotta turn off the volume a little bit on the ones that you know are gonna just be hate, you know, just hate and discontent, but there's some good banner back and forth sometimes too.
Yeah, I'm not questioning that. We don't never want to say we're anti
Oh, no, I know.
freedom of speech. I'm just saying that sometimes we need to filter those people boards, committees. where they-
Absolutely.
It's true.
I agree.
I'm sitting on one of these committees and I will admit, I'm one of these people not complaining, but it is disconcerting when Texas has got a gazillion acres on fire. And we're sitting here with water issues. It concerns me as much as anybody, not to the point of complaining, but to the point of inquiring to the man that knows more than anything else about it.
Whether we can take care of, we get.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, committee, if I may make another statement about hydrants, we had a fire on University a few months back. And there was a lot of internet outrage about the water. What the general public doesn't realize is the reason we brought our big tanker was it takes less personnel that already have to come from the station in a fire truck. It took less personnel to transport that 6,000 gallon tanker, and only one person, that person could hook it up versus trying to access a hydrant. It takes 2 to 3 people to catch a hydrant. And we could have the best water system in the world where every hydrant flows over 1,500 gallons a minute. That fire hydrant sitting there ain't gonna put out a fire. If I don't have the people to access it, the trucks to pump it, that's a huge gap in the service that is provided.
That's good information right there.
That's good knowledge.
That would be a good digital.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think that, Mike's point is, there are issues that surround us and we need to be concerned about.
Well, and to be honest, you know, historically, we have anywhere from 20 to 50 structure fires a year. And of those that we have to actually use the city's water system, it's usually pretty low. It's less than 10%. Most of the time, it's handled with the water that we carry on the apparatus when we arrive on scene.
And in the fire prevention plan, is there a master plan with all of the other local fire stations? Do you communicate with them?
Yeah,
In case
have
something break out like
quarterly,
Texas?
sometimes monthly meetings where we regularly, each individual department has their own standard operating guideline that they follow, but they're all very simple. Thankfully, in our community, we're the only paid department, so we take the lead on a lot of activities, a lot of planning to where they take ours and run them. Now, the volunteer departments do a lot more fast fires than we do. There's a bulk of our work with ZMS, and then we have more experience in structure fire. But like any random county departments rolling with 40 to 50,000 gallons of water, they've seen some of their trucks carry 3,000 gallons on 6-wheel drive pump apparatus. But that's what they do. But yes, sir, we do coordinate with them.
I think the experience was 78 for the big fire in town. I think everybody's conscious of that.
Yes.
We don't want that to happen again. Thanks, Mike, for bringing that to the.
Yes, sir.
Recording video quality of meeting. I'm not gonna make a comment on this because Mike Davis, Davison's wife. David comment.
I brought this to the table. One thing I've heard in regards to meetings that take place in this room is that you can't hear everybody. A lot of times you've got multiple people talking at once. The video quality is horrible. In the council chambers, at Memorial Building, there needs to be a couple of microphones in the center point. I'm thinking Chris needs a little bit of help on some equipment. It is ridiculously inexpensive in the grand scheme of things. A few table microphones, they make them wireless, potentially a mixer. And a couple of potential wireless microphones in city council chambers.
Okay, so to answer your question about here, this room was never set up to do meetings.
Right,
Every meeting was held at the council chambers. This is only set up for Zoom.
Hmm.
For the staff.
okay,
In the council chambers, we have a problem with microphones being dipped and muted up front.
okay,
And everybody who talks has to come to the podium to be heard. We changed that microphone because we had people who were walking up and turning the microphone away from them. So we fixed that and did a directional microphone.
So you said we need to direct anyone.
To the podium.
To the podium,
Yes,
and so that could be done. The mayor can do that.
yes. So the talking in the audience to council, they should be going to the podium, correct, sir? But
should be
that
done.
room is set up, but the mics that are sitting at council, people are either muting them or dipping them, because I can see it on the in the back. And so, but the directional one at the podium picks up.
I'm not one of those people that mute mine or.
That's where you should have about half a dozen erasers.
I am not allowed to choose violence.
So, but like at the town hall meeting.
People talk from the
It would have
audience.
been an act of Congress to get everybody to go to that podium and we would have been probably another hour longer. Is there no way, and I understand, you know, but you got master control on you that you
I
can
have-
turn.
I have a microphone that I handed to everybody, but
Granted.
one of the guys turned it off when he was talking.
But I mean, on your computer, do you have master control of the microphones like?
No,
you
I
can show me?
that,
Yeah, no, wireless.
not the wireless.
I was wondering, you know, cause I was sitting in that meeting and I wasn't very far from Mayor Ortega. And it was difficult to hear him speak and he had some good knowledge that he was trying to put out. And if we had some mics hanging from the ceiling like they do in the courthouse.
We do have sound in the ceiling, but it's for what's coming out of my computer, like people on Zoom and all that
No, I meant
stuff.
it's microphone, not sound.
No, that's why I have the
It's John
handheld.
Miles, yeah.
I have the handheld microphone and it got handed to him, but when it got handed back to me, it had been turned off.
Can we buy you some microphones, is what I'm trying to say. Can we buy you a system that will accommodate?
I can get a quote,
Yeah, so I asked
Aren't
first.
those incredibly expensive?
yes.
Cause we had those at service,
let's-
and
let's-
they're way expensive.
Yeah.
But there again, that's one of them things that we need to follow up on. Let's see where we're at.
So I
We
have,
lost a lot of information on that meeting to people that were listening back home, because I went back and I listened to the meeting again, and I'm sitting there, and I love Elton to death. He is so
Mhm.
low volume that he's trying to put out really good information and you cannot hear it.
let me rephrase something. If you would like some assistance on this, I think it would be warranted. I know a sound engineer that would donate his time to assess, and it's not as expensive as you think.
well, the system was put in by Yucca, so we would have to work with them. And that's, I don't have a problem with it, it's just right now. I have a choice between upgrading the sound and council or fixing the sonic wall, and that runs the city.
Oh, I got you.
So my budget is very tight
Okay,
and I have equipment that is a priority.
okay. All right, well, it needed to be brought up. I noticed apparently a lot of minutes or transcripts of these meetings are going back, picked up afterwards. The words that are popping up on those videos don't match what is being said. I don't know if that's AI.
That's AI.
I figured it was. I run into that on other things.
Yeah, but this room was never meant.
Yeah.
This room was never meant to set up to have meetings.
Okay,
Well, it
Like
was, it
this.
just wasn't meant to record.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's just an added whatever we give, so I mean. if
we
have to-
used to not do recordings of the
Right.
committees.
well, at bare minimum, 3 wireless microphones here would be a drop in the bucket to pick up and complement what you're recording, because this is permanent archive right here.
I can put it on my requested budget for next fiscal. I turn it in at the end of the month. I don't know if it'll be approved because the finance committee has to approve my budget.
I just want it on the table. To
Yeah,
the
and I think
point,
we can get quotes and we can start looking at costs to do that.
I got,
Okay,
You got Mike?
I'm
I
not.
got mics, I got
I'll throw that out there for you.
I got some more mics.
But it has to work with all, it has to work with the whole
A
system.
microphone is a microphone.
Well,
The transmission of.
Mike, it's 9:26.
Yes,
okay, this is a technical discussion and, let's let this Christie get involved with that and.
absolutely.
yeah,
And pass it on, cause I was at a very big meeting in Washington DC last week. And the way they handled that, it was more people than we talking about in the town hall meeting here was
they
there.
also have.
And they walked and they have money and they walked down, they had a microphone, they walked down and the leader of the meeting said, you must, if you wanna speak, you need to speak in directly into the microphone and they
We-
walk and tell them to monitor.
We
that.
tried that at town hall, but every time I got the microphone back, some of them turned it off.
Turn it off.
That I can't,
About a boom mic.
people have to step touching.
No, okay, I understand. Well, let's move on.
Well, real quick, before we move on, back to the whole video quality and everything. So the picture that we're looking at up there, and I noticed this yesterday, has that end of the table cut off. We don't even see the cheese. Now.
It's the mic, the
That's it,
video
yeah.
camera, so he's not talking because he doesn't wanna be on video and
But even when they're talking, I'm not seeing
they
it
have to
move.
talk long, they have to talk long enough.
Okay,
It
so
moves,
this-
it focuses, like
We
it
can't adjust
focuses.
the center point to,
It's one of those that tracks, because I'm talking, it's coming down to me now. And I try to be off camera.
okay.
Yeah, the eye moves, that camera will move.
No, I've watched it move, but yesterday, when they were down here talking, there again, Eldon also, but it just wasn't. It wasn't tracking down there. I know my camera at home, and of course, it's motion activated, not sound activated, I understand that. But I can set my center point where it falls back to, it'll fall back to say the center of the table. And if we're talking about video quality and stuff like that, I think that'd be something to look at as well, if we could adjust that.
But let's depend on Chris to come work back with some,
That's
some recommendation. I don't think we can resolve how it to be worked here. She needs to come back and tell us what she.
And I think it quotes, I have to put it in my budget and hope we have the finances for this next fiscal.
primarily just to throw it out there.
Yeah,
Okay, let's go to E, property tax, GRT update and follow through. Who's doing that?
I have a question. Sarah, did you put this on there as a result of me sending you something?
I think they're all agenda items that I put on there.
Okay, so in reality, that was attached to the task board because I wanted to make sure, because we have talked about property tax, GRT, and things like that, and I wanted to know how we made sure that that didn't disappear.
Well, the property tax thing, Sarah, you get a report from the state on in the county, and the GRT is reported to the city manager.
I get the GRT, I have to go on to do the RP 500, but I get the report to you.
And I think that came up with the fact that we was talking about how much property tax we pay, or how much is the city residents pay.
Right.
And versus the county. So I don't know where we're going with this one.
That was attached to the task board. Because those things have been discussed and I just did not want those to be forgotten about.
Hey, can I ask, I guess we have a finance committee tomorrow, was today Wednesday?
Thursday. I want
Oh, today's Tuesday.
Yeah,
So we have a finance committee Thursday and it's only about GRT, is that correct, Sarah?
It's about RCCDC thing.
Yeah.
It was a very last minute meeting and it was just about an RCCD, economic development wanted to impose a 2.5% incentive off of the GRT, and that is all I know about it.
Okay, has it not been presented at y'all's RCCDC meetings?
I think it was presented last meeting, but I had COVID and I didn't go.
It's been the last three, I think.
Okay.
So what is? You didn't go to the last one or the last two, was it not?
I didn't attend the last two either, just with the finance stuff going on and everything, I didn't have time to be able.
so it is being with GRT and property tax come up at finance committee.
It will not be on this finance.
Not on this one, but it is reported there, right?
Yes.
Okay. You gonna miss your 20 minutes.
Okay.
Convenience center staff and help.
I put that on. I was, I mentioned last meeting that, about doing something about doing away with the fees for going to, even for the county, for going to the convenience center. And part of that's gonna fall even on the no burn ban. We don't want them burning out there. Let's encourage them to bring it in.
Well, technically, they're not supposed to be burning trash anymore.
Agreed, agreed. But here again, we give them another avenue, another incentive to not burn by giving them a place to put it. If we're putting it beside the dumpsters, or if whoever's putting it beside the dumpsters. If they had a place to put it, we're gonna reduce labor costs, we're gonna reduce additional fires. One of these days, God forbid,
Well,
when that gets struck up, that whole alley's gonna go.
So during COVID, we didn't charge anyone, no monies. And we still had a legal dump. We still pulled 700 mattresses out of the office.
I agree with that, but if we let them know,
We did, we didn't charge anything and we let them know and it did not do any good is my point. And we can't just give stuff away for free, that goes against anti-donation, and I know I'm looking into it with the attorneys, but we can't just give anything away for free. But what we are going to do is, we do offer the first and third Tuesday of the month for free for anybody to dump. I'm gonna just change it to every Tuesday. For free, anybody can come every Tuesday and dump. And see if that even starts a good.
At the convenience center, is that where that is?
But they also have to remember, there's stuff you can't dump. Somebody wanted to dump the whole jacuzzi the other day, we're kind of like, but we can't fit it in our roll off, we can't take it. We have to be able to compact it down and take it to Locust.
We should be careful about using the term free.
So we need to do a better job of letting people know.
but it's free to us.
No, but we got to be careful using.
No,
the
no,
term
it's
free.
not quite here.
I agree, but the term is used. That it's free to you if you have your water bill.
It doesn't cost you any more than your current solid.
Garbage
waste.
bill.
Gotta, you know,
Okay, so I guess what I'm looking at is,
yeah,
we're probably spending, if the city went out and cleaned up these alleys. I have no doubt that we're spending probably twice as much in labor as we would be if we provided an area for people to get rid of their trash instead of having to go pick up their trash again. And
I agree with you, but we already have that ability, and my dumpster still got a 6 feet of branches beside it. People are just too dang lazy to drive it. I mean, we have.
Yep.
You don't really have to advertise, I know that it's there. I know my next door neighbor knows that it's there, but I still watch it throw.
well, and like she said, that's the ones I guess we have to turn them in. And they do have,
Crime Stoppers.
well, and they also have in larger places, these contractor bags.
see with you.
You get a contractor bag, you get it out there and the neighbor grabs a contractor bag that can be picked up with the brush truck and put inside the brush truck and then dealt with that one. I think, we can talk about, and I hate it, this is what my complaint was the other day. We talk about how lazy the people are. I think we're not we're not giving the people enough of a chance. You know, whenever I need to go to, every time I need to go to the convenience center, it's not convenient. It's not open, or it's been better lately. But for a while there, it wasn't open, there was no, and people got into that. That whole routine of, well, it's not open, why do I need to take it to the convenience center? I mean, I might as well just put it out here, you know?
That was just because we were short staffed, we were driving rather than having the convenience center open.
I get it, but the problem exists
Right.
and nothing is getting done about it.
Oh, I'd like to interrupt here because if the minutes we just approved, if you go back to D on the item we approved, we talked about this extensively the last time.
Mhm.
And that wasn't, we agreed to a plan, we just approved the minutes and said, I have replaced all of them with 40-yard dumpsters, and that was Steve's report to this committee.
Yep.
And then they were gonna have, we organizing a cleanup day, which the public would know about. And we're organizing areas that are gonna be in Councilman Parker has continually, every time she talks, she mentioned cleanup day, and I think that Steve is working on the cleanup.
Yes, we
I could dig it with the cleanup day, I
We gotta
have
let
no
it
problem,
We gotta let the system work.
but the
Think about it.
first, I am thinking about it, Mr. Oscar. I'm thinking about that 5 years ago, this problem did not exist to the extent that we're at right now. Something has failed in the system and or the people. And it needs to not just be a cleanup day, I'm also involved in one of them cleanup days. But we need to be able to provide something that's gonna clean our town up, because I guarantee you, whenever it takes off on a windy day in an alley. This young man here at the end of the table is gonna have a fit around gas meters and everything else on fire.
I'm not arguing that, Tom, I'm just saying that we need to follow what we just.
I know, and this was part of the follow-up of that, I
Yeah.
thought, this was.
Just, we did a cleanup day last year, and you know who showed up to help with that cleanup day? Staff and their kids. And one group from the New Mexico Children's Commission.
And Ron Jackson didn't he show up? I thought he did.
I get it, I dig it, but I'm talking about a system that our city has to take care of an issue. Not just volunteers and cooperation, I'm not
The
talking about
biggest
that.
is to get people to apply. How do you get people to apply?
Well, that's on that whole, let's get some money, and first off, if we don't get some money for this young man down here, everything else is mute.
Well, and let me say this, every city department has the same struggle that we're having right now. Every city department is understaffed and recruitment is suffering because of specifically paying work. And I realize I've been more vocal than the department directors, but I'm not the public works director, I'm not the police chief, I'm the fire chief. And going back to the dumpsters, the only way someone can burn in the city is if I approve their burn pit and a dumpster is not approved. Consider it.
You know what happens sometimes?
Yeah,
Called you to what, 3 of them?
We also paid a company to come in and start alley cleanup, but we only had so much funds to use, so guess what?
You
They got
stop.
through a quarter of the town and they had to stop because we couldn't pay them anymore.
I had a couple other ideas, and I thought this was a continuing issue based on the last minutes. But I think some roll-offs
They have to
at
be manned.
major, I'm sorry.
They have to be manned, we don't have staff. Because people wanna throw oils and grease and things in there that we can't legally take, so they have to be manned.
Yeah, but they do that in dumpsters.
They do that in dumpsters, but if I just set a big old roll off up and I'm allowing it, then I'm part of the problem.
What you're saying, and the roll-offs is a good idea, we put them at the city park. We had, I think it was a city park about 4 years ago, we set the roll-offs and we had 4. And if you don't man it, you end up
Need
taking
refrigerators. and things like that.
refrigerators and everything and
I've lived in mountain communities and I've been around this country and I've seen where there's roll and they're unmanned. I've seen this, so I know that there's a lot of walls that I'm up against right now, but I would think that we would want to investigate this a little bit more to find out what can be done on the city's level that can help people get their trash where it needs to go, as opposed to the status quo, which is just continue to put it by the dumpsters. I mean, if that's the way everybody wants to live and complain about people being lazy, that's what's gonna happen.
So here's the thing though, what I look at is we put these roll-offs there, what's the difference between the roll-off and the convenience? That's right.
The convenience center, there again, people are conditioned to the convenience center not being open or being able to get rid of their stuff as they normally would. I mean,
But
what's gonna happen when we do an alley cleanup? We're gonna come down through there with a trailer. And we're gonna load up everything that we find in the, and then where are these people these volunteers gonna be able to take that stuff to? I mean, we don't even have that option for them because they're gonna come through and they're gonna pick up refrigerators, they're gonna pick up stoves, debris, trash and everything else. We're gonna roll up to the convenience center and they're gonna say, oh, no, you can't bring that here. But yet the people just done it. They just took care of the mess. And now now the city's not gonna be able to help them out. We've gotta be able to answer that question too, if we intend to have a community effort cleanup.
Right, and when we do the cleanup days, that's when we have manned roll-offs. That's like the last one we did, we had roll-off stationed all over. People at those roll-offs to say, here's what we can and can't take. And we do PR, we let people know, here's what we can and can't take, like. We do a lot of efforts and these aren't things that we have not talked about, Tom. I'm just saying that here's what we are facing. And when it comes to people's licensures on the line, they're not gonna deviate from that because they've worked way too hard. If other towns have done it and they're not getting in trouble, that's on them, but eventually it catches up with you.
But it's funny, you observe things when you go other places. I went back to my sister's and I was watching her. And I was drinking a beer and I threw the beer bottle, extra beer bottle into the trash. She said, oh, don't do that. I said, what? It's trash. She said, oh, no, you didn't put up here, I gotta put it in recycle. So what?
Absolutely.
They got a culture thinking, we ought to educate people maybe we ought to, this committee should be coming up with a recycling plan. And we need to sit down and say, we ain't gonna, I don't know.
I talked about that last meeting as well.
But we need,
to come up with a
but what
recycling
I'm
plan.
point is, we gotta educate people to that one. I mean, my sister, she just, whoo, I thought she was gonna hit me. She said, yeah, I said, wow, and that's what she did, and I went, took my beer bottle out of the trash and put it up where she wanted to put. We don't have that culture here. That's
Well,
where we don't.
They do have the culture of piling it up at the
No,
dumpster because
we do
nothing
not,
convenient
no,
for them to do.
we do not have that culture here. We
I
don't
think
have
they pile it up to the dumpster because they're lazy,
Lazy.
man.
Dude,
I've got 5 dumpsters in my alley. If I go and my dumpster's full, I'm not gonna just set something next to it.
5 years ago, this was not an issue. 5 years ago, this was not an issue to the degree that it's at now.
I've been to thousands of council meetings and Oscar can probably echo this. Potholes, streets and trash have been a recurring theme for longer than I've been at the fire department, which is over 18.
It's been.
Now, it may not be as severe.
I get you.
But at the same time, these are all issues that are all potentiated due to staffing and funding. That our city's trying to address, our council's trying to address. And yes, it's not convenient when the convenience center's closed, but how do we fix that problem? Because it doesn't matter if we fix the culture if we can't fix the problem. And if it's a staffing and a pay issue, that's a slow process to correct. To make it better for the future, then we can start working on that culture. But we have to fix, like you said, the result of that convenience center needs to be open when they say they're gonna be open. And our city staff continues to work diligently to do that, but we don't have funding to maintain all the services that the community is requesting with our current taxes.
I get that. So if we don't have the funding, what is the next step?
That's
What
what we're
do we do?
We have to create.
Well, I know, and that's what I'm talking about.
Hey, Tom, here's my thought. I'm probably gonna get blasted on Facebook for it, but here's my thought on it is we have to create a culture that is willing to clean up. I don't think anybody around Portales is willing to do the work. Like she said at the last cleanup day, it's the staff that shows up. We're not putting our money where our mouth is and walking to our next door neighbor and saying, hey, pick that crap up. We live here. That's what it takes is we have to create a culture like Oscar's talking about. Because, yeah, you can add funding, but the little old lady down the street can't afford to pay more taxes. So that's just raising taxes to hire more staffing is really just pushing the problem to somebody else to deal with. And it's creating a culture of, well, if I pay for it, somebody else is gonna pick it up for me. My deal is, let's pick it up ourselves.
Well, I
Walk
get
down the
that.
valley, pick
I
it up.
get that. I don't know if you saw the picture that I posted last week. Okay, that was. Them people called the city of Portales, they were told they were gonna be charged $50 to come out there and address that. Then a dump truck driver. Now, you told me that that was bad information. You
Yeah,
did, Sarah. You
yeah.
told me that. Everybody, she told me that.
Okay.
You told me that. You did. And I support that, but that's still what the customer heard.
So somebody heard it from somewhere and that's.
What the customer heard from whatever phone line they called into this building on
Yeah.
was that it's gonna cost you $50.
I
Okay.
also, I wanna piggyback off what he said, because it is a culture thing. We did 2 events where we did, let's help paint our dumpsters to make our town look nice. And let's paint our fire hydrants. 2 people did fire hydrants. 2
John
people,
done his.
John's wife and I did,
Oh, really?
yes.
I don't have a fire hydrant. John took care of the closest one
It
to me.
cost me
So,
less than $6 to paint.
And I did notice
My
it.
fire hydrant.
Okay, we're not gonna solve this today.
I'd like to say one other thing to go with that.
Hold it down, we're not gonna solve this today. I still think we need to come up with I'm gonna put you as a chair of the committee, to come up with a plan to change the culture. For example, like the example I gave you.
I'm working on recycling. I'm already on that,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, then bring that to the committee.
Okay, and I have, and I shared pictures, but one thing I do wanna say, just real quick, I mean, I understand that the neighbors are gonna, the tree trimmings and everything. What that trash truck driver drove over that day could have been handled. If the city that was extreme, that was an extreme deal. We're seeing some extreme stuff that's out there. That extreme stuff is not coming from your next door neighbor trimming their trees. We're seeing extreme stuff that's coming in out of the county. I believe it's out of the county. And I'm not trying to attack the county, but I think it's coming in because they have no place to put it. The convenience center is not convenient for them, and we're definitely under a burn ban, as we should be.
Well, yeah.
But that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a lot of this debris that I feel is coming down out of the county. And by the way, Steve's not here, but my alley looks great behind my business now.
So
They did a great job.
we've done so far, right? So we're buying the bigger dumpsters. We are, our street crew, parks crew is going behind the dump trucks, cleaning up alleyways when they're told about them. Okay, so we're doing not only pothole repair, but alley cleanup at the same time.
Right.
We are fully staffed now at the convenience center, so we can be open. We also have the second person we brought in at the convenience center can also weld, so she'll start working on dumpster bottoms. So we're working towards this, but it has not been a fix overnight.
And someone told me we had 100 new dumpsters just came into town,
I believe it was 25.
25 or that.
We got 100 to order, right?
They said we had 100, so.
I think it was 100.
I didn't know how many came in.
I
I think
I think it's 25.
I think 25 of the 100 came in, is that correct?
25, yeah.
25 of the 100, because they're roughly $1,000 each, is that right?
$7.
700, okay, that's what I heard it.
But anyway,
Yeah.
there's an effort, the dumpsters new, everybody's, I don't know who's watching, Big Brother's watching us, watching the city. But the chief police and I, you may think this is way off the subject, but the chief police and I had a discussion about, on our trip to Santa Fe, that how come we can't approach the courts to work with communities? We haven't had the opportunity to talk to none of the judges, so this is right here. And I haven't visited Judge Williams, and I haven't visited Judge municipal judge, I haven't asked him. But what we want to do is approach them to see if we can, could they assign community service to inmates?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, we're running on time.
Yes, we're running on time and just 26 dumpsters ordered, 26 dumpsters in. We're starting with commercial because that's where people seem to illegally dump the most, is in commercial, and then they have the office.
Now, I'm gonna bring here, I'm gonna ask the chief to help me continue that discussion on getting inmates. Did a good work,
Yeah,
inmates to help us clean up the house. But I have to visit with the judges and I'll take them to lunch or something. And see if I can get them to, but the district attorney is behind it. The district attorney said,
well, good.
he said
Yeah,
he'll be in favor of it.
I think the sheriff has to be involved in on that.
Well, yeah, we went into other churches.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, anything else? Tom? Okay.
I do wanna say thank you to the committee though, because we are getting ideas out there and it gets passionate, right? Like, tell them we don't have guts, but we are trying. Just be patient a little while longer and we can keep putting our heads together. We will come up with good solutions that work.
I still think we wanna have something in our hand to tell the public.
Right.
And I don't,
Yeah.
I think when I get bombarded every day.
Yeah, so the
Every
timeline
morning.
thing, we're already on it. I know she's probably already working on it over there, so.
Okay. So other business, any matter not known about or which could have not been written or seen prior to the time of post on this agenda. Anything? I hope not. God says that out loud.
No, I had a 2-slide presentation. I would.
Well. You overruled each point of order.
You do right.
You're out of place. Public comment.
I ain't got nothing going on, come on.
Okay, if there's no comments, and nobody here, so. We ask for an adjournment.
Okay, hit end,
We missed it again, Kristen. What's the
hit
time?
end,
9:50.
and
You're
I
good.
meeting.
I'm